Look closely. The man before you, chained to a wooden stake, is a veritable human beast. He has no name, no past, is missing an eye, and is covered in shocking, gruesome scars. In the bleak and freezing Scottish Highlands of the 11th century, he is kept in a cage like livestock, used for gambling and entertainment. Because he only has one eye, people call him One Eye. Playing One Eye is the familiar Danish national treasure and Best Actor winner Mads Mikkelsen. In this movie titled Valhalla Rising, Mads Mikkelsen doesn't have a single line of dialogue throughout the entire film, yet relying solely on his intimidating single eye and intensely violent body language, he breathes life into a terrifying god of death. Directed by the visionary Nicholas Winding Refn, this R-rated dark masterpiece is no simple popcorn action flick. It's a visual baptism filled with metaphors, gore, religious fanaticism, and human despair. Today, let's step into this god-forsaken land and experience this silent shock together. The story takes place 1,000 years ago in the Scottish Highlands. Society at the time was not yet fully civilized. Barbarism and violence were the only currency here. The tribal chieftain, Bord, has made a fortune by keeping One Eye captive. In the chieftain's eyes, One Eye is merely an unrivaled killing machine. Bord proudly boasts to others, he has never belonged to anyone for more than 5 years. He's driven by hate, that's how he survives, and that's why he's never lost. Every day, after a battle to the death, a hood is roughly shoved over One Eye's head, and he is dragged back to his muddy cage like a vicious dog. The person responsible for bringing him food and water is a young blonde boy, also a slave, named Are. In this world full of blood and brutality, Are is the only one who isn't afraid of him. After One Eye finishes fighting, the boy uses his tender hands to wash the blood and dirt from his face. There is no verbal communication between them, yet they form a silent and incredibly strong bond. Although One Eye's gaze is full of murderous intent, when he looks at Are, there is a subtle, almost imperceptible calmness. But a beast can never be chained forever. Once, while washing in a pool, One Eye keenly feels a broken stone arrowhead at the bottom of the water. He quietly hides it in the palm of his hand. During the next transfer under escort, the seemingly docile One Eye suddenly lashes out. Using that extremely crude arrowhead, he precisely, ruthlessly, and silently slits the guards' throats. There isn't a single wasted movement, like the Grim Reaper descending. Upon regaining his freedom, One Eye doesn't flee immediately. Instead, he finds the once arrogant chieftain, Bord. In an incredibly brutal act of revenge, he impales Bord's abdomen on a sharp wooden stake, putting a bloody end to his life as a slave. With his revenge complete, One Eye walks to the river to wash the blood off his body. When he turns around, he finds that the little boy named Are hasn't run away, but is quietly watching him. One Eye doesn't chase him off. He turns and walks into the mist-shrouded wilderness. The helpless boy Are chooses to follow closely behind this one-eyed god of death. With that, the god of death enters the world. But what they don't know is that a nightmare, 1,000 times more terrifying than the gladiator pit, has just begun. Two silent figures, one large and one small, trudge across the desolate highlands. Before long, they encounter a heavily armed group. The leader is a general with fanaticism in his eyes, named Care. This is a band of Christian Crusaders. When the Crusader soldiers point their swords at One Eye, the air instantly freezes. Some in the group have heard the terrifying legends of One Eye and know he is one of the most savage men in all of Sutherland. Someone suggests getting rid of him, but the leader, Care, stops them. Care is not only a zealous fanatic, but also a shrewd opportunist.
Does the mute have a name?
Name is One Eye.
One Eye. You can eat with us, then we can talk.
Looking at the invincible One Eye, he hatches a plan and tries to recruit him. We need a fighter as good as you. Come with us to Jerusalem. There awaits supreme glory, wealth, and land. Your sins will be absolved, whether you live or die. Faced with Care's endless monologue, One Eye remains as silent as a statue. At this moment, the little boy R steps forward and becomes One Eye's mouthpiece to the outside world. The Crusaders curiously question the boy. Where is he from? R gazes calmly at the zealots and coldly delivers a highly prophetic line.
He was brought up from hell.
Hearing this, the Crusaders ask disdainfully, "And where is this hell?"
On the other side of the ocean.
Instead of feeling fear, the highly superstitious and arrogant Crusaders believe this unstoppable one-eyed warrior is the ultimate weapon sent by God to help them reclaim the Holy Land. Thus, One Eye and the boy are aboard the Viking longship, a vessel supposedly bound for salvation, but actually sailing toward the abyss. Not long after setting sail, these Crusaders, who were shouting about building a new Jerusalem, face a cruel blow from Mother Nature. The wind suddenly dies over the sea, not a breeze, not a current. The entire longship becomes like a dead leaf, completely stalled on the dead-still ocean. Soon after, a thick, impenetrable fog that blots out the sky entirely swallows them up. In this white, claustrophobic space, there is no sunlight, no visible stars, and no way to tell day from night. Time seems to have stopped while the fresh water and food on the ship are rapidly running out. When faced with extreme uncertainty and the threat of death, humanity's proudest beliefs are often the first to collapse. The Crusaders begin to lose their minds. They pray desperately on the deck.
This ship is yours, Lord. These men are yours, Lord. We ask you to send the wind to lift this mist, to guide us on the path to your land.
However, God does not answer them. In the endless dead silence, fear begins to spread, and some point their fingers at the ominous boy, R. They remember what R said before boarding the ship, and conclude that this boy, from hell, has brought a curse upon them. One soldier draws a dagger, attempting to kill the boy as a sacrifice. One Eye, who had been sitting silently in the corner, suddenly rises. He doesn't use any complex martial arts moves. Relying solely on raw, explosive power, he stands in front of Are like a fierce guardian deity, instantly snapping the neck of the attacking soldier and throwing him into the sea. Just as the mutiny on the ship is about to turn into a brutal massacre, a soldier, driven mad by thirst, desperately scoops up the water from outside the ship and gulps it down.
It's fresh water.
Right then, the eerie fog that had plagued them for days finally begins to slowly part. An unknown land appears before them, towering coniferous forests, desolate fjords, and absolutely no signs of civilization. They drift down the river and finally step onto solid ground. The Crusader leader, Care, firmly believes this is God's guidance, convinced that this is the Holy Land they've been seeking. But what they don't know is that, having completely lost their bearings in the fog, the ship didn't sail toward Jerusalem in the Middle East at all. Instead, it crossed the vast Atlantic Ocean and drifted to the North American continent in the 11th century. Yes, they have stumbled blindly into Native American territory. For the European Crusaders, it is a true, uncivilized hell. Upon landing, the group is exhausted and half-starved. Even more bizarrely, ever since setting foot on this land, blood-red visions have started flashing continuously in One Eye's mind. His intuition far surpasses that of ordinary men. He foresees blood, he foresees corpses in the mud, and he foresees an inescapable death. The forest is terrifyingly quiet, as if pairs of eyes are secretly watching them from the shadows. Suddenly, a soldier walking at the very back of the group vanishes into thin air.
Where did you get that? Where is he?
When the others find him, he has been pierced by a strange stone arrowhead and is dead in the mud. The Crusaders are horrified. Inspecting the wound, they exclaim in terror,
Look at this. Stone, not iron.
They are primitive people, facing the Native American indigenous people hidden in the dark like ghosts. The Crusaders' defensive wall of faith completely collapses. Someone suggests they must turn back immediately, return to the ship, and find the saltwater, because that is the only way out. But leader Kere has gone completely mad. Religious fanaticism has entirely swallowed his reason. We will claim this land in God's name. The new Jerusalem will be built here. Our city will stand for 1,000 years. Care forces his men to chop down trees by the river and erect giant crosses, attempting to cleanse the sins of this pagan land. However, this land couldn't care less. There is no god here, only cruel laws of nature and deadly natives. The little boy once again acts as One-Eye's prophet, conveying his prophecy to the group. He says we are in hell now. He brought us here. We have to leave this place. The group fractures completely. Most of them have had enough of Care's madness and choose to follow One-Eye deeper into the forest, trying to find a way back to the coast. The one who stays behind, Care, devolves into an absolute lunatic under the cross he erected himself. He declares himself a spiritual guide, intent on building a kingdom here that will last for generations. The film enters its extremely oppressive and bloody second half. During the evacuation led by One-Eye, those blood-red visions gradually become reality. Soldiers trying to escape back to the longship are picked off one by the Native Americans like hunted prey. Soldiers who drink from hallucinogenic mud pools descend into madness. Members of the group who disagree even draw their swords and slaughter each other. Faith becomes an absolute joke in this savage land, and the most primal fear and brutality of human nature are infinitely magnified.
We need to follow him.
My lifelong friend, will you turn your back on me?
General Eirik, who once firmly believed on the ship that God will protect us, eventually breaks down mentally and falls to his knees in the wilderness. Looking despairingly at Ari, as if grasping at the last straw, he asks, "How do I get out of here? Tell me." Ari expressionlessly delivers One-Eye's cold death sentence.
You're gonna die.
Unable to accept this reality, Eirik chooses to leave the group and walk into the dense forest alone, ultimately meeting his inevitable end. After a long and hopeless death march, everyone in the group has died. In the end, only One-Eye and the boy make it out of that suffocating black, coniferous forest alive. They finally hear the sound of the ocean waves and feel a faint breeze. Stepping out of the woods, a wide, open coastline lies before them. However, on the other side of the coast, a group of Native American warriors, their faces painted with war paint and holding primitive weapons, stand quietly on a hill, staring dead at them. He turns his head and takes a deep look at Ari, the little boy who has followed him all this way. In the most moving and impactful moment of the entire film, One-Eye, who has always been invincible and a ruthless killer, makes a move that goes against all his survival instincts. He unbuckles the short knife from his waist and throws it on the ground. The Native Americans slowly surround him. One-Eye offers no resistance, showing not a trace of fear. Like a deity walking to the altar, he lets the indigenous warriors smash heavy stones and wooden clubs into his head and back, time and time again. What's truly shocking is that, after beating One-Eye to death, the Native American warriors don't chase after the unarmed little boy, R. They look at the dead One-Eye, turn around, and silently retreat deep into the forest. In the final shot, the little boy, R, stands all alone on the beach, gazing out at the vast, boundless ocean. The clouds in the sky gradually part, and under a blood-red horizon, One-Eye's soul seems to have detached from his broken vessel, slowly sinking into the water. After finishing this movie, many people might feel deeply shocked and perplexed. Who exactly is One-Eye, played by Mads Mikkelsen? Why does he never say a word? Why does he willingly go to his death in the end? This movie absolutely shouldn't be viewed as just a simple gory action flick. It's actually a philosophical film brimming with Norse mythology metaphors. In fact, One-Eye is the earthly incarnation of Odin, the All-Father, in Norse mythology. In the myths, Odin sacrificed one of his eyes in exchange for the Well of Wisdom, and he possesses the ability to foresee the future. In the film, not only is One-Eye missing an eye, but his mind is also constantly flashing with blood-red prophetic visions, perfectly matching Odin's lore. Furthermore, in Viking culture, only warriors who die in battle can ascend to Valhalla, which is also the deeper meaning behind the film's title, Valhalla Rising. The core of the film is actually a clash and demise of faith. The Crusaders represent zealous religious followers who kill under the banner of God, Leader Care fancies himself a civilized man, yet descends into the ugliest madness when faced with adversity. He attempts to build a new Jerusalem on the American continent, only to be swallowed by Mother Nature and the indigenous people. One Eye, on the other hand, represents an ancient, primitive, and cruel pagan deity who complies with nature. He doesn't believe in God, but he has his own bottom line and bonds. One Eye has spent his entire life in gladiatorial combat and slaughter. If he had continued to fight, he might have been able to kill a few Native Americans with his combat skills, but he and the boy would ultimately have died of exhaustion on this unfamiliar continent. However, to save the little boy, R, the only living being in the world who treated him like a human, and the only one who ever showed him warmth, One Eye chose to let go. Using a Christian, Jesus-like act, self-sacrifice, he completes the redemption of the little boy. At the same time, this act of facing death with dignity perfectly aligns with the noblest way to die in Norse mythology. The moment he lays down his weapons, he is no longer a slave kept for entertainment, nor is he a cold-blooded god of death. He has transcended his mortal body and his hatred. He died on the shores of the New World while his soul, facing the sunrise, rises into Valhalla. Valhalla Rising is a film with a very high barrier to entry. With scarcely any dialogue throughout, incredibly slow push-and-pull tracking shots, extensive use of red filters, and a unique style that needs extreme violent aesthetics together with an intensely oppressive silence, it is destined to be viewed as a rare masterpiece only by a select few. Mads Mikkelsen delivers textbook-level eye acting in the film. Even completely mute the whole time, you can feel that soul-piercing wildness and compassion.